there's two ways to keep the skin that we've discovered. There's scalding and scraping. So scalding with hot water first. And then there's also torching and then scraping.
Yeah.
So can you go over maybe, I guess, give us a rundown of what you do and then maybe to achieve those ends and then why you would choose one over the other.
Yeah. My preferred method is scald and scrape, which is like a chicken. If you've ever harvested chicken, you dip the pig in the warm water and it loosens the pores. And then with a scraping tool called a pig scraper, you scrape off the hair. And it's not just the hair, but actually the epidermis comes off also. So the final top layer of skin where the pigment is also comes off, which is really the thing you're trying to get off. Because it tastes not so good. And if you really nail the scald, then most of the hair will also come off too with that.
Yeah.
So I like to get the water to 147, 148 degrees Fahrenheit. And then I dip the pig in because the thermal mass of the pig is going to displace that of the water and drop it a couple of degrees to the ideal scalding temperature, which is no more, no less
Dun, 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 dun.
than 145 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's it. If you're going to watch any part of this podcast,
Yeah.
that is the magic number to get.
If you're going to endeavor to scald and scrape pigs, because good grief, you will not do it again if you don't get that temperature right. It is a horrific nightmare. It's really the key to the whole day. I say second only to the kill. If the shot doesn't go well, then that really doesn't feel good at all. So your psyche's messed up after that one. But if the scald and scrape doesn't go well, then your process is acutely screwed up, big time.
Yeah.
Because it's not just that hotter and longer makes it come off easier. Oh no. That's actually worse than an underscald. So if you don't quite do it hot enough, long enough, you can remedy that by doing it a little hotter, a little longer. But you cannot remedy an overscald. It's just hard work at that point. And what an overscald does is it breaks down the skin of the pig too much to the point where it becomes sticky and tacky and it yields too much under the force of your scraper. And it becomes gluey. Which skin does when you boil it too long. And it will actually adhere to the hair and the scurf, which is that epidermal pigmented layer that you're trying to remove. It will adhere to it. It's a Sisyphean nightmare. It's exactly the thing you're trying to avoid is exactly what you'll accomplish.
Yeah.
And I would say an overscald that's like the greatest nightmare. So here's how you avoid an overscald. And it's to check the hair, the ease with which it removes from the carcass of the pig every 90 seconds. So my apparatus is a 55-gallon drum, and I can dip half a pig in at a time because it's too short for a full-length pig. And I raise it out just a little bit, like 5 inches, at the 90-second mark, and I tug on the skin, on the hair. And I want the hair to just pluck off effortlessly, not even a pluck. Pluck is too abrupt. There's no resistance.
You're
it just slips.
Peeling like a tissue paper layer off
Yeah.
or something.
Yes, like a skin sloughs off of a boiled potato.
Or a gold leaf off the edge of a cake that you are decorating.
Exactly.
It's that
effortless.
Yes.
Okay. So when you've hit that point, hoist all the way out and scrape.
Uh-huh.
And that could be 90 seconds. It could also be 3 minutes. It could be 4.5 minutes.
Uh-huh.
But that is the key. And again, the point of that, it's not that it's a universal rule like 145 degrees for 90 seconds. No. It is the way to avoid the overscald. That's the point of checking every 90 seconds.
Okay.
That's how you avoid that.
Okay.
There are no additives in the water that can bandage
You've tried a few.
inattentiveness to the temperature or to the timing. There's
right.
there's no secret pill here. There's no magic
Yeah,
at
magic
all.
bullet. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to do 147, which will bring it to 145. Check it every 90 seconds. You know, you can use Old Baldy, which is a product that I think softens the water, and then it puts like even rosin, which is supposed to make the hair more grippy. Like it's, but it, you know, no, you just need, it doesn't work. You just need to pay attention, and which means your best investment in time before the slaughter is a calibrated thermomedopolis. So you want your thermometer to be calibrated. And
if you take it on an airplane to a slaughter somewhere else,
right,
it will mess up. So don't use that thermometer again.
Yeah, if it's analog, yeah. Maybe even digital. I don't know how that works, and I like to use beverage thermometers, and they are analog, not digital.
Okay, right.
Those are just the ones that I trust. They're cheap because I do destroy them, because scalding scraping is it's a hairy, furious job. There is no, which reminds me to say that there's no impetus to get all the hair off right away. So when you nail the scald perfectly and you hoist the pig out and you scrape away, that scurf, or that pigmented layer of skin and hair, will not re-adhere. So you don't have to get it all off, being chased by the possibility that it will stick back on. It's not going to. It's forever loosened. But, for efficiency's sake, you want to move along. So that's the scalding and scraping. And I use an electric winch with a remote that only works sometimes. And once I do the first half, I lay the pig down on a clean pallet, switch the hook to the opposite end, and dunk the haired end.
And we use
in the bucket.
a 55-gallon drum. Obviously going upright. There are people that will use bathtubs.
Yeah.
Or something like you could lay it kind of vertically in a tub. We've never done that. But yeah, you can get kind of creative.
I think I like my setup because it's eminently mobile. It can go anywhere. I can really set it up anywhere. 55-gallon drums are light and easy to move. And I put it on a burner, which is essential, which is the Bayou Classic jet burner. And it's got 4 legs. It's tube steel. It's really robust. And it heats the 55 gallons of water, which is not actually all 55 gallons. I fill the barrel 2/3.
Right.
And actually, most 55-gallon drums have ribbing on the barrel at 1/3 and 2/3.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you just fill it up to the second rib.
Okay.
And the Bayou Classic burner will heat that entire quantity in like 18 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Which is essential, which means I start putting water in, and as soon as there's an inch of water at the bottom of the barrel, I blast the burner full blast. Because if you blast it when the barrel is dry, it will most definitely melt the bottom of the barrel. Even though it's steel, it will turn it red and it will become pliable and you'll destroy it. So you have to put that water in there to keep the temperature low.
Okay, yeah.
And so put the hose in, turn it on, 1 inch of water or so, blast the heat. And then by the time it fills up, it's already pretty close. But that's when I walk away and I line up for the shot. I make the kills. And by the time I drag the pig to the barrel, it's at temp. When
you're actually scraping, any words of wisdom, or I can think of one, but I just know you're real stubborn. You will get every single little hair off, and it rewards you later when you're in the butcher shop, because now you've got this culinarily pristine and ready thing to work with. Whereas maybe when we first started, well, even then you were pretty good, but I have seen other farmers like, well, we got 90% of it, we're good. And then they actually end up not getting the trotter or the head all the way. Some of these corners, these little niggling crevices.
The hard parts.
Yeah, they're
jiggly. They have no resistance. So like the back is really easy because it's straight and tough and strong. So you can apply lots of pressure with the scraper and the scurf just peels off. Whereas the jiggly bit under the neck is, there's no backing there. And so it's harder. And so sometimes in those places or in, fat folds, I'll use my fingers. Just pull off hair and scurf. But that really is the key. Like, even if I have completely, for whatever reason, God forbid, messed up, botched the scald, I still don't stop until it's hairless.
I know.
And that's really the difference, is There's actually no excuse. This sounds so mean. There's actually no excuse, in my perspective as a processor, for any hair on the pig.
Okay.
If there is, I've failed. And maybe I've done that, once or twice, where it's like the end of the day, and it's usually in a torching situation.
No.
Where I physically can't do it, and usually I don't notice it until the skin has dried and the roots and receded, and the little 5 o'clock shadow of hairs have re-emerged.
Oh gosh.
Which happens.
Oh.
And it breaks my brain.
That would be deflating.
It's really deflating. But so all that to say is you can get it all off. You can. The only reason you wouldn't is because you chose to stop before it was off.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so I have made every mistake in the book, but you keep going until it's denuded. Which is why I feel like I get, carpal tunnel or tennis elbow or whatever it is. Yeah, tennis elbow when I scrape. But
so that can be an advantage. I mean, you work alone because you're a processor by trade, but that can be an advantage to having 2 or 3 or 4 guys out there with you, because then you're all enthused,
fresh,
and you're egging each other on, like, no, let's keep going, because it can be kind of one of those CrossFit experiences.
Definitely, and it's how was I going to say about that? It really is not. This is me like way too impressed with my own trade, but it's not just a physical demand. It actually is more mentally exhausting to get every hair off.
Yeah.
And I find that's the thing that really tires me out. Yeah. To actually look for every hair and then to attack it to get it off. That is as mentally, if not more mentally exhausting than physical demand.
And that's why you strategically prioritize the scurf first.
Right, yeah.
Right? Because, you'll leave some hairs on.
Right.
I'll get to that later with a knife.
Yeah.
But I'll get the scurf off every little bit. And then I can go back and sharpen my knife, and you'll shave where just the hairs are kind of prickling through. But the scurf is really that tough piece. Yeah, that is in the earlobe.
Which is effortless if you get the scald right. Young pigs are really easy, usually. Particularly in the summer when their coats are the lightest, which that is when most pigs are young, is right in the summer. So that is a very easy scald and scrape. It's flattering. You're just like, oh, this is so easy. Everything just flips right off effortlessly, and your scraper's getting all the hair and the scurf with one go.
Yes.
And you might find it discouraging when you get to fall and the pig is bigger and he or she is not only shedding, but growing new hairs. Yeah. So this little window where even perfect scalding technique still results in a difficult job. And that is when they are growing new hairs. And for some reason, their scurf is more stubborn at that point. And you'll notice, you'll scrape and you'll see mature, big bristles, and they could be 3 or 4 inches long. And then little tiny new growth hair. Oh. And that is this little pocket in the fall, which happens to be when we harvest them all. That scalding and scraping is, no matter what you do, it's more elbow grease, it's more difficult.